Good.
Okay, we'll call the August 6th Planning Commission meeting to order and stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're ready to call the roll.
Mr. Townsend. Mr. Poole.
Here.
Mr. Allen.
Here.
Mr. Hollingsworth.
Here.
Ms. Mason. Mr. Gregg.
Here.
Mr. Powell.
Here.
Ms. Boyd. Ms. Woodard. 5 members present, 4 absent. We do have a quorum.
Okay, looks like we're all guys tonight. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes from July the 2nd?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, they will stand approved. Under new business, item number 1 is the final plat, 102 17th Avenue, Addition West. Is there a motion to put this on the floor for discussion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second. What do we have on this, Dave?
Thank you, Mr. Allen. It's a 2-lot subdivision. That's all it is. It's an infill. It's a bigger lot that was subdivided into 2. The reason it's before you is because they needed to get their driveways approved because they cannot do it per the municipal code. But everything else is in order. And we recommend approval.
Okay, staff recommends approval. Are there any questions or discussions on this?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. We are ready to vote.
Mr. Poole.
Yes.
Mr. Hollingsworth.
Yes.
Mr. Gregg.
Yes.
Mr. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
All right, item number 2 is discussion on multi-residential and CS Commercial Services zoning. Do we need a motion for this discussion, Dave?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do we have-
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. You're ready to go.
Now, I don't expect any action to be taken. I just wanted to discuss this with the Planning Commission and to bring you up to speed on where I'm at and what I'm thinking. Okay. Right now, we have principal permitted uses for residential activities. We have 2 classes: permanent, which is multi-family, and then we have, and this multifamily was not put in the ordinance until 2001. Okay? Before 2001, the only principal permitted residential activity was permanent, semi-permanent, which is hotels, boarding houses, residential houses. All right. What took place in 2001 to cause us to do this? There was a proposal to put multifamily in a CS district. The owner did not want to rezone the property to MRO. The Community Development Department proposed to the Planning Commission and to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen that permanent dwelling multifamily be added to the principal permitted residential activities of CS districts, the commercial service districts. The amendment to the zoning ordinance moved forward is ordinance 0132, which y'all have a handout of. And then, and the proposed multifamily project that was proposed did not move forward. The proposed multifamily, the zoning ordinance about this multifamily amendment hasn't been reviewed since 2001. Okay, during the past 19 years, there have been only 4 proposals for multifamily developments in a CS district. 2 did not move forward, and the 2 most recent proposals will most likely move forward. And that will be, we will see coming back next month, Continental Apartments. They've got a preliminary that meets all the requirements, and because it's a permitted use, we will not be able to deny them their use. Okay, so, but they're going to move forward. So I want you to keep in mind, and that's why I gave you the CS section of the commercial services section, districts, regulations from the zoning ordinance. The CS districts were designed to provide for a wide range of commercial uses concerned with retail trade and consumer services. And, examples: amusement, entertainment, automotive vehicular service, transient sleeping accommodations, drive-in stores, eating, drinking places, financial institutions, and offices. Permanent residential activities was never an intended use in the CS districts. Okay? So, the commercial uses that I've just mentioned give entrepreneurs the ability to establish businesses to provide goods and services to our community, and just as importantly, the sale of these goods and services generates sales tax as well as property tax. Permanent residential activities only provide property tax. There is no sales tax generated with permanent residential activities. So now the question is this: does the Planning Commission and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen want to continue having permanent residential activities, multifamily, as a principal permitted use? Okay? Once again, keep in mind that permanent residential activities is not an intended use within the CS district. Permanent residential activities consume valuable CS district properties with no generation of sales tax. If permanent residential activities are removed from the CS district regulations, the Planning Commission has more control of multifamily development through the rezoning process to MRO, the multiple residential and office district. Because if it's permitted by right in CS, unless there is a substantial infrastructure improvement that the developer has to do off-site, even then, if they're willing to do that, we have to basically approve it if it meets the zoning ordinance. Now, if permanent residential multifamily had been revisited after 2001 and removed from the zoning ordinance, we would never have had a discussion, and would not have had further discussion coming next month about the addition of townhouses behind Continental Arms Apartments. Now we have another 76 units that we're reviewing right now, and we'll bring it to you after we get it all worked out. It's in a CS zone, but it could have just as easily been rezoned to MRO. And we would have recommended so. It's right off of Moreland behind Harbor Freight, the Dollar General store. You know, there's Sonia Bentley's office, it's just right in there. So, you know, with that said, do y'all have any questions? Y'all want to discuss this? You know, my objective is to plant a seed, let y'all think about it. CS, you know, like I said, the use classification in CS does not mention permanent residential activities. Never did. We put it in there, and for the life of me, I really don't have a good answer as to why.
Continental Apartments has been there a long time, hasn't it?
Yes, sir.
I remember when it was built.
I don't remember it being built, but I remember it. It's been here as long as David's been here. That's in '64.
Probably 50 years, maybe 40-something years, let's say.
Yeah. 54 at least. But I'm just saying, you know, there may not have been any zoning at the time.
I'm sure there was.
There, you know, but it was rezoned at some point as CS. But my point being is there's a lot of blank, empty CS along 41 that if somebody wants to, they can put multi-residential in there instead of small businesses that will only generate property tax instead of the intended sales tax. Because that's what that district is set up for, is goods and services. See, we even get taxes when they rent hotel rooms. But we do not get nothing but property tax off of the multi-residentials.
I understand what you're saying. At the same time, there's only so many businesses and so many things that can be put into a town the size of Springfield. And I would rather have some money coming in, even if it was more sales tax, than sitting waiting, wishing for some, more property tax than wishing I had some sales tax.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I understand exactly where you're at. It's just, you know, and it comes back to the planning commission. If you take this principal use out and go back to what it was pre-2001, y'all, they can buy that lot. They can come to you and go, you know, and we want to rezone this to MRO. And you as a board can decide, or a commission can decide, if that's what the commission wants to do to move forward. Very seldom do we not turn down zonings. There's only one little area that we seem to have problems with rezonings, but everywhere else, you know, if it's a good fit, you know, because technically MRO is a commercial zone. So it's no issue to rezone 2 or 3 acres from CS to MRO.
Are you getting into a thing where you're gonna be spot zoning the MRO
No, sir.
locations?
No, sir, because it is a commercial zone. MRO is a commercial zone. The uses are similar, you know, because not only, let's not forget about MRO. It's multi-residential and office. So within the MRO, you have several commercial activities. You know, you have automotive parking, contractor and professional offices, convenience commercial, entertainment and amusement services, financial consulting and administrative services, food and beverages services, general business and communication services, general personal services, medical and professional services, and transient habitation. So, other places have a mixed use when it comes to multi-residential sometimes. I mean, you go over to is it called the Commons in Pleasant View? You go over there. They've got condos on the second and third floor of buildings that have restaurants and barber shops and salons and businesses that are pertinent to the multi-residential condominium owners. So, I mean, we have never seen anything like that, but, you know, it would be great to see something like that. So you don't just wind up with multi-residential, you wind up with multi-residential and commercial mixed uses that give these people the availability of almost a walkable community. And like I said, I'm not asking for any action tonight. All I want is for you to think about it. We're going to get the information to the ones that we're not able to get here, but I personally think that it's a good thing to pull that out. I believe that Springfield is on the cusp, and this is one of the things that this really in my opinion, needs to be done. It should have never been done in the first place, in my opinion, but
What was it done? I wonder.
there was a gentleman who made a proposal, and he didn't want to rezone his property to MRO. And I don't understand that, because even if he had rezoned it to MRO and he didn't move forward, he could have just as easily rezoned it back to CS. But we changed this ordinance for one person, and fortunately, we haven't had too much try to come in. But I foresee, we have a big interest right now in multi-residential. Looking at 8-acre lots, 12-acre lots, wanting to get things rezoned to MRO. Well, that's just like 15 per acre is what our zoning classification allows. 3,000 square feet per unit, an acre, 43,560 divided by that just comes up short of 16. So 15, that's a lot, that's in 12, that's 150 in 10 acres. I mean, that's a lot of dwelling units, or that's a lot of storefronts. And that, you're seeing it. RS10 was the last thing, the last subdivision that we've seen come in. Construction costs are just so up that I'm afraid the days of even an R20 are gone. Maybe an R15, we might be able to see an R15 if they're going to be $400,000 houses.
Is this what the villages are in Pleasant View, you said up there?
That villages or the commons or whatever they
Yeah.
call it, yeah. They're, but they've got that mixed use going on too.
That's nice.
We've always fixated on multi-residential portion of the MRO and never really understood that there's so much more that can be done in the MRO than just multi-residential.
And David, I would just want to point out too, if you look at your classifications, you've got all those classifications that are in CS. There's a lot more sub-classifications that are under each one. So you've got all those, which are almost twice as many as an MRO, which the uses are sub-classifications in there too, but you've got so much more. And the CS allows for so much more, and is our broadest and best commercial zoning as far as just about anything goes almost with that, except for like heavier things that would go in CG.
And no exterior storage. If you guys
Right.
remember when we were having the conversation about the 2 lots over in Moreland, I set it out, I broke it out. Just the primary uses, just the principal permitted uses in the CS district were 14 pages. There are conditional uses, mini warehouses, and adult business establishments. I didn't even bring that up. But that's conditional, and that would go to the BZA, Buzzy, and that would be y'all's decision whether to do that or not.
We catch it, don't we?
Yeah, you do.
Catch it all.
Here's my question. It kind of comes down, in my thinking of, are we wanting to prepare ourselves or be more attractive to more business coming, or do we want to be more attractive to more residential coming?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of the parameter we're kind of looking at here. And I know exactly that, like what Mike brought up in Pleasant View, I mean, that's a great thing. I mean, you know, you've got just, you know, very nice condos, you've got restaurants right there. I mean, it's a great situation. And I've gone up there several times, and it's a lot of activity going around there. And, but you and I've talked, David, about this property tax hike in Nashville that they're trying to, you know, push through. If that passes, that's going to be pushing people probably our direction. So are we wanting to try to attract more business that want highway frontage? Are we going to be looking to go after more zone, or how do we break it up to where we can provide some of all of it, you know?
Yeah, and that's a good question.
It's gonna
You know,
come.
but
It's gonna come. Just
we
wait.
have a whole lot of zoning, residential zoning, that backs right up to CS zoning. You know, MRO, you could rezone case in point, November, December, we rezoned R15 over on RW Gordon Drive to MRO, 4.5 acres. You know, at some point, they're gonna have a mixed-use kind of thing going on in there. They're gonna have multi-residential. They've never told us, we've not seen it yet, but they've never told us whether it's gonna be rental or sales. But they're gonna have an event space there as well, where the old church used to be, either for weddings or receptions or something like that. So we're beginning to see some of that. We've got interest on 12 acres over on South Main Street. We got,
Bill Jones.
yeah, we got interest in 8.5 acres there on Bill Jones.
We even got interest on the existing building on South Main Street.
Yeah. For multi-residential. So we've got the guy, you know, he's working. You know, I talked with a realtor earlier last week. She wanted his contact information. She wants to light a fire under him. I was out here on Oakland Farms, on Oakland Road.
Matt Blackman.
Yeah, because she's like, dude, finish these things. I could sell them all. 52. Michael Hunsucker, if y'all remember him, he came in, thanked y'all for working with him over at Village Greens. He's selling those standalone condominiums, townhomes, fast as he makes them. Ross Fan, you know, third reading will be then, this coming up, Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. They're gonna do 9 there at the corner of Bruce Street.
I understand what you're wanting to do or what you're thinking is right, and I wouldn't have an objection to doing that personally, because if somebody wants to try to do MRO, then they're gonna come before this board and then the BMA for a decision as to do it, but it's just not an open clause where they just come in and take advantage of it.
Exactly.
So I could go along with what you're wanting to do.
Okay, well, it's not me. I mean, it's just my opinion. You know, I work for you guys. If y'all don't want to do it, I'm good. I just thought it was an issue that needed to be brought to your attention because I foresee it chewing up the CS zoned areas and the loss of sales tax.
For $3 million a year on water, we need to build as many and as fast as we can build.
And I concur. And I hope that we get it.
So go to work,
We see
Philip.
it.
Instead of multi-purpose, we need multi-faucets.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you need to put like 10 faucets per house and make sure they run all day long. But anyway, you know, y'all just think about it. We'll revisit next month again. And if y'all want me to move forward, we'll write up an ordinance, get it to you guys for review in October, and then we'll move forward. And if not, thank y'all for listening. I appreciate all y'all do for me.
Be sure the ones that's not here get all this information.
We are gonna make sure that happens. Miss Kimberly's looking at me because she likes to do that type of stuff. She likes to get information out. Okay, let's see. That's my discussion. If y'all have any questions, please reach out to me. You know where I'm at. We're up here. We're here. We'll do our very best to answer the questions that y'all come up because I'm sure, I know y'all as individuals, y'all are very creative people. Y'all can come up with something I haven't thought about.
We all want growth.
Mm-hmm.
We all understand that the opportunity is going to come our way. We know that. It's a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we manage it?
Exactly. You know, we're getting more interest in little franchises, you know, that come and they talk to us. Now, are they going to come and deliver? I don't know, but it's happening. We've never had these conversations before. So we know that smaller franchises of restaurants and things like that are interested in coming to Springfield. It's just a matter of time. And it, you know, and like I say, I just need one really nice to finish, and we're off. If Matt Blackman would just finish, and people see how successful those sales are going to be, get ready. Of course, you know, I preach the gospel of Springfield, so I believe in Springfield, and I believe it's going to be a great place.
Well, you should. We all should, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that.
If we ever get off that stump.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
We've heard about this for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well, we've heard about it for a long time.
At some point, we gotta make the rules relax enough to bring people here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've got 2 or 3 business places right now, restaurants, that are folded up in Springfield, Tennessee. They're done.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna have to get off that stump somewhere and ease up some of these regulations that we put out there. Don't get me wrong, we put it out there. But we gotta ease up some of these regulations to get people in here to do some stuff. Because like Buzzy said, it's all gotta work together. You gotta have places to come to and places to live.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can't just come to Springfield and say, I want to buy a $400,000 house, but I'm going to National Clark to do all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta have stuff here for them to do. Me and Jeff talked about the other day. We cannot be a city that has zero activities in it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do it anymore. Because you look around us and everybody's got activities for kids to do, adults to do. We got to get off of that. We've lost everything we've done in the last 10 years.
And I don't,
You get upset about it. Last night, I was coming back from Greenbrier. Look up over there to McDonald's, was the parking lot. Police over there giving the little boys a hard time and tickets because they're all gathered there. We can't do that. We cannot do it. The kids are gonna have someplace to go, something to do, something to be involved in, so they get off these streets somewhat, but we can't do it and then lose businesses like we lose, and we keep on losing.
I understand.
And like I said, we've been on this thing for 5 years now. It's gonna grow, it's gonna grow, it's gonna grow. But every time we say it's gonna grow, guess what it does? It goes backwards. It just keeps going backwards. I mean, this is the only city I know that lost a movie theater, a skating rink, and a bowling alley within about a year of each other. I've never seen that happen before.
And I understand, and I'm gonna say this, that was not the city of Springfield's doing.
Yes,
No,
it was.
No, it wasn't.
No,
Yes,
it
it was.
wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It
Yes, it
was the
was.
population of the city of Springfield's doing.
There's gotta be some deals with the people that own these deals to give them some tax incentives to stay here. They got to stay here.
I understand.
I mean, we can't, we're 16,000 people, and ain't got a doggone thing to do here. Not a thing. I mean, it's pitiful. It's absolutely pathetic.
I understand.
I mean, my daughter, she's 19 years old. You know where she goes? Hendersonville or Clark.
Yeah,
She ain't staying here.
I understand that. I understand that.
So what do we do to make that up? What do we do to make that work?
There's,
When they have the businesses, when they have the entertainment venues, you know, it's up to the population to support them.
there's a trend, and I didn't realize it, but I can't imagine the number of people now that work from home. A lot of people work from home. My daughter, you know, I never thought she'd have a nice job, but she does it all from her little office there in her house. And, you know, the COVID situation, you're gonna see changes in education because people are gonna opt out of public schools. Not especially because of COVID, but it's just because of the other things that people that can afford it, or there's co-ops now being formed where children will go to this house on Monday, they'll go to this house on Tuesday, and they're being educated, you know, online and through other situations like that, to where, you know, it's gonna come back to where a family resides is gonna be where they work, it's gonna be where their kids are taught. It's, you know, the home or the condo or whatever is gonna become a multi-purpose situation for the coming generations. And we need to kind of be looking toward, how do we address that? What type of facilities, you know, people want entertainment, people want close access to groceries, you know, their drugstores and things like that. That's what's happening in these you know, in Nashville. You know, usually the whole ground floor is some type of retail, you know, shops, groceries, you know, pizzas, you know, fast food, that kind of stuff. And they go over big time. They're expensive, you know. I don't see how the people afford to actually live there. Can't park their cars unless there's parking provided, you know, which a lot of them, the Four Seasons right now, we've been working over there. There's 4 levels of actually nothing but parking. The bottom floor is gonna be retail, there'll be condos, offices, multi-use, the whole situation. It's gonna be it's gonna be 8 stories, and they're already planning to add 6 more at some point in time. So, you know, we don't wanna be Nashville. We can't be Nashville, but we still can be looking at what we can provide for this newer generation that wants to work from home, that wants to educate their children at home, and all of those types of things. And, you know, when I was a kid, everybody had a little neighborhood grocery store, you know, you could walk to the store, you know, and do this and that. Then all of a sudden, everybody wants to go out, you know, and park in a, you know, 10-acre field and lose their car when they come out, and, you know, all that, and push and shove through aisles and all that mess. But it's coming back the other way, and that's how society cycles a lot. You know, we get tired of that. You know, everybody went crazy over malls. You know, everybody had Harding Mall, had Rivergate, had Hickory Hollow, had all these different malls. Now everybody's going away from that. You know, and it's a trend. And if we can get ahead of the next trend, we'll be very smart, because that will make us attractive. And I agree with Mike. You know, it would be nice to have a few things, you know, that could, because if I was a young person that had a family, I'd be looking at what kind of activities would be here for my kids to get involved in. You know, if they're in a church program, there's youth and things like that, but, you know, things to keep kids off the streets or out of the parking lots, away from the bad elements that every city has. It's something we can hopefully look at, decide what we need to do and how we need to do it, and it all comes together, because whatever you're going to build is what you have to put out there to bring the people in, whether it be housing, multifunction, business, whatever. But I also feel like we also have a limited amount of highway frontage. You know, of course, 431 now is a busy corridor, you know. You can't just put multi-use places up and down that, you know,
Yeah.
because your businesses want visibility. That's the thing for them. You can put a units, back behind it or something like that, and that's, a lot of stuff to consider.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of stuff.
And like you said, we're in that catch-22. Okay? We need entertainment venues, and we need little restaurants, and we need these things to draw people. But to get the entertainment venues, to get the little restaurants, we need people to draw them. And so,
That's 22.
but the more rooftops we get, the more dwelling units we get, the closer we get to hitting the demographics of these retail establishments. We've got a retail recruiter that's out there speaking, preaching the gospel of Springfield all the time. So, and I'm thinking that we're seeing some interest out of that.
I've lost count on how many dollar stores we have now.
Well,
And not that that's a bad thing, but that tells me that, dollar store is great about how they formulate their demographics and all that. They're first class on all that.
they are, they do, they really study it out. You ever get the opportunity to speak to Monty Turner, who develops those, he developed the one out on on 41 South, and over on Central, up here, he's developed them all. They have a very specific demographic within a very small radius. And if it has a certain amount of population within a certain income level in this very small radius, they start looking for a place because they know they're going to do well.
We need to find out who the guy was back several years ago that developed Branson, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
It was a hole you couldn't even see it.
True.
And that's one of the biggest venues of country music that ever was in Branson, Missouri. You can't get there from here.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy had a vision, and he brought him in there. Now, we're in 30 miles from Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't get a venue up here that'll bring some pretty good acts in here. And I know there's somebody talking about it. I know there's some
And they're
people
working
talking
on
about doing something. But we need to get them off that stump and get them going.
That's exactly right. Newton's one of Newton's law of motion. A body at rest tends to stay at rest. So if we can get it moving, it'll keep on moving.
I don't want to see Springfield keep progressing and there's a dollar store on every corner and a check cashing place and, all the stuff that kind of preys upon people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's,
And hopefully, our demographic will change,
Yeah.
and that will go away. I'm like you. I do not want Highway 41 running through Springfield to be an extenuation of Dickerson Park.
It's pretty good right now.
I'm like Buzzy. Nashville's coming this way, and what he said about the work from home and the education from home, that's the thing in the next 20 years.
it is
And
coming.
it's gonna happen, and just like he said, the taxes are elevating in Nashville. People are gonna get away from those taxes.
Exactly.
And plus with all the protesting and all that stuff, people are leaving these big cities now, they're getting in the suburbs and far out. And if Springfield could determine what would be the best fit for them, and then maybe offer some incentives to these contractors to build these facilities, like Buzzy's talking about with retail on the bottom and have top-notch technology and just really fix it up where people can live at home, walk to the grocery store, but the city Nashville offers incentives to these contractors all the time to build soccer stadiums and football fields. Why couldn't Springfield offer some incentive to the contractors to put in these kind of facilities and maybe not give it to them for free or defer it or whatever it takes to encourage them to build these types That's gonna get you rooftops, that's gonna get you people in here.
Well, we have availability to do that, and we have talked to people about doing similar things.
Right.
We just haven't had anybody that is,
Does the chamber and the city and county ever get together and talk about those kind of things, like,
Mhm.
you know, where are we going, what's our plan as far as, you know, stuff like that?
well, tax incentives, yeah, we know what the Industrial Development Board has to offer, and we let people know that when they come to look. There are, you know, what they call TIFs, tax incentive financing.
I have friends in Nashville that come to Springfield just to drive through the historic district.
Mhm.
They get a kick out of it. They go
You know,
to see-
people come to Springfield on a regular basis because there's a lot of people come from North Nashville to drink a beer at BS Brewer Works. There's a lot of people that come from North Nashville and Clarksville to eat at the depot and to eat at the public house. Torino's. I'm just saying, our small, non-chain restaurants, they did well during the COVID-19. You know, El Mocajete, Public House, the Depot, even the brewery.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they
Iron Plains has a Mexican restaurant now.
It's good too.
but my point is during
Who would have
all,
thought that?
yeah, but during all of that craziness of the COVID-19 pandemic, the city of Springfield's citizens stepped up and supported the local restaurants, the established ones. We lost a Mexican restaurant, but we didn't lose any of our restaurants that had been established for over 2 years.
But Shoney's, it's gone.
Well, that's because, yeah, more than likely, but that's because they are buffet style, and buffets are outlawed right
But
now.
I also want to compliment our Parks and Recreation people do a great job because, you know, our splash pad, stuff like that. I mean, some of that stuff, I mean, we have some things to offer.
We do.
You know, our soccer fields, you know, all of our, you know, our Travis Price. I mean, that's a nice situation.
But if y'all remember, we brought to y'all the next expansion back in September, I think. You know, we're moving forward with that, with the fields. I mean,
Yeah.
and you're exactly right. We have our Parks and Rec department, excellent. You know, we have one of the best.
And they're on top of getting federal funding.
Right.
They work that pretty well too.
You know, our electric department, our gas department, fire, police, water, sewer, they've had some issues, but they're getting ready to get that worked out. So we will never, unless the world comes to an end because of our contract with Logan Todd Regional Water Commission, we will always be able to meet our demand for the next 10 to 15 years, just off of them, if we have to. Good decision. Okay. You want to keep talking on this stuff, or we, not to cut y'all off, I love talking to you guys. You know I'm a talker. I take after Doc Brewer.
We get you going.
I love it.
We encourage you.
All right, any other comments or discussion? And we'll move on to other business. Our next meeting will be the election of officers, September the 3rd.
Yep, it'll be the
And-
planning commission's regular business meeting.
And I
Just wanted
guess
to remind
Gina's
you.
gonna tell us about the BZA meeting. Looks like Buzzy's gonna have his
Yeah.
hands full.
Yeah.
I'll let Miss Head handle this one.
Well, as you can see, I have 6 different variance application requests, which basically turned into about 19 variances. But it's all, each of them are, for the same property. One of them is 204 2nd Avenue West, 1805 Park Street, 1908 Rice Street, 1910 Rice Street, 22nd Avenue East, which is Story Park. It's where the old trailer park used to be, there. And then on 108 North Walnut Street. And for the most part, most of these are small corner, some of them are corner, they're non-conforming lots.
Lots of record.
Lots of record, except for the 22nd Avenue East one. That was isn't that the one that's newly platted into Story Park?
Yeah, it's,
Lot 17, yeah.
yeah.
That's basically the only one that is not really a non-conforming lot. Philip, yeah, there's a sewer easement. But Philip and Jim is doing a couple of them. Philip and Jim are doing 4 of them together. And basically, they're just very small. So one of them is really what I call a postage stamp lot. They're trying to make the lot work to put a residence on. And Philip's here just in case y'all had any questions. I mean, it's really too entailed to go into with all these different variances for the different lots. But basically, a couple of them are corner lots. That means we've got 2 fronts, 1 side and 1 rear, so it's hard to meet on, especially on a postage stamp lot, a 25-foot setback. So he does have some information that he can pass out to you if you wanted to look at it, just in case you all had any questions. And we bring it to you all so that if y'all want to weigh in on to any opinion for the BZA board or not, just to keep you aware of what's going on.
Okay, so you got a
I have a
handout?
picture, we printed off a picture of the front of the house. These lots are so small. We're gonna do a 2-story house on most of them.
Gina, what date will this meeting be?
Next Tuesday,
Next Tuesday.
Second Tuesday, Buzzy.
the 6th.
Second Tuesday every month. Go ahead and put that on your calendar.
I will do that.
Because it looks like
There will
we're
be
gonna keep y'all busy.
there will be a refreshments served, I'm sure.
I might work on that, Buzz.
That's not necessary, I'm just.
Okay, are there any questions about the BZA meeting?
And y'all are welcome to come if you so wish.
As all of our meetings are public, everybody's welcome to attend.
Okay, is there any other business anybody wants to bring up tonight? Good discussion. I guess we're ready for a motion for adjournment.
Adjourn.
Thank y'all for all you do for the city of Springfield. We appreciate it very much.